there's a new supermarket salmon.
It is the first genetically engineered animal intended for food to be approved in the U.S.
But could what we don't know
You actually are playing with nature.
hurt us?
You have to trust where you're shopping.
Plus, she was the executive producer of The Oprah Winfrey Show.
I had a job with meaning.
Sheri Salata opens up about her latest life lessons.
I had manifested a dream come true career, but not a dream come true life.
Coming up next.
Y'all ready for season 10?
I love you, Becca.
Today, controversy about America's favorite fish and one of my go-to foods, salmon. A new kind of salmon may be coming to a store near you. It is genetically engineered salmon. Don't panic yet, we're going to talk about it. What do you need to know about supermarket salmon? Do you know where the fish is really coming from? There are lots of questions about salmon. So we've got the ultimate guide to supermarket salmon, so you know what's really worth your money. Julia Collin Davison from America's Test Kitchen is here. Julia and I both love salmon. Not only we work with the fish all the time in your kitchen, you're focused on it a lot, but her husband is a fishmonger. Look at him, look at that. But their shirts.
World's biggest catch there.
He doesn't have money for shirts, but he fixes it exactly. Look at that little minnow he caught. So why do you think salmon has become such a supermarket staple?
Yeah, it's huge in American culture. And actually, a recent study showed that Americans eat over 350,000 tons of salmon a year. That's a lot of salmon.
Lot.
Well, it's delicious. It's good for you, full of those omega-3s. It's a great source of protein. So it's delicious and healthy. What's not to love?
Yeah, and we love it for that reason. We push it. However, the biggest news for supermarket salmon is that genetically engineered salmon is now cleared to be sold in the USA. This has been in the works for a while. Tell us what changed in the past couple of weeks that allowed it to finally get out there so we can start seeing it in stores.
Yeah, so the approval for selling genetically modified salmon happened back in 2016, but Congress asked the FDA just to put it on hold until they figured out proper labeling procedures. Now, the FDA says it's cleared all those hurdles and it's ready for sale, and the FDA wants everyone to know it is absolutely safe for the fish and safe to consume.
However, it is the first genetically engineered animal intended for food to be approved in the U.S. Whenever you're first, people are going to ask questions. So how does genetically engineered fish differ from the kind that's conventionally being sold in stores now?
Yeah, this is interesting. It essentially grows more quickly. So it has a hormone growth gene that was derived from another type of salmon, in addition to some DNA from another fish called the ocean pout. The combination of those two things means that the salmon grows faster, which means you can get it to market quicker.
Yeah. This is sort of it. It's interesting. It might be scary to some, I know, but it's interesting. If you take this growth hormone from a different kind of salmon that normally grows faster, and you put something that promotes it, like from this pout fish, you actually are playing with nature. I get it, but farmers have been playing with nature for a long time.
Grafting trees, so on.
Right. So we got to be smart about it, but we ought to be open-minded as well, and that's the balancing act that I think all of us are struggling with right now.
Yep.
So there are health concerns that have been raised.
Yeah, there are, but we have no data on it. I mean, this is such a new product. There are no long-term studies that can tell what the effect of something like this on the body would be. So the verdict is still out there, you know, it hasn't come in. But again, the FDA is very clear to say this is safe to eat.
We reached out to the company Aqua Bounty, who's behind this salmon, for a statement about concerns. Here's what they had to say in part. The FDA's approval of the application related to Aqua Advantage salmon, that's a genetically engineered type, followed a comprehensive analysis of the scientific evidence over a 20-year period, which determined that our Aqua Advantage salmon met the statutory requirements for safety and effectiveness under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. So they're following the law. The whole statement's on DrOz.com. Let's dive deeper into other types of supermarket salmon that are being sold right now, because that's new, hasn't even hit the stores yet. This is a question right now. First off, farm-raised versus wild.
Yes.
The big question is that your wallet knows the difference here, but does your palate?
Your palate will notice the difference. Now, if you take farm salmon, let's understand where it comes from. It's grown in an aquaculture farm, so it's raised in pens. That means everything's monitored. The water temperature, the water quality, the feed, how much exercise. Wild salmon is swimming in the ocean. It is hunting, it is swimming long distances. So at the end of the day, the difference comes down to fat level. Think about this guy just hanging out in its pen, getting fed. You can see the fat right here. You can see those stripes of white.
It's marbly.
Yes, and when you cook that fat melts and you get those beautiful big flakes. You see not a lot of fat over here on the wild salmon. So, and also the farm salmon has a milder flavor. But when you think about farms, you think about a farm in New Jersey making tomatoes and a farm out in California growing tomatoes. Those tomatoes are going to taste a little different. Right. And that is the same with farm salmon. Where the farm is and how they treat the salmon will affect its flavor.
So I have to admit, I have gone salmon fishing. My son Oliver loves it. Here's a picture of us. That's from Iceland, actually.
That's a nice catch.
Now, I know how challenging it can be. Oliver had to reel that thing in. And there was a recent study that showed that farm-raised salmon was mislabeled as wild, according to the investigation, quite frequently. Yes. And the numbers here are a little startling, so please share them with the audience.
Yeah, there was one study recently that showed people pay up to 35% more for wild salmon, but oftentimes it is simply farm salmon that's been mislabeled. And this has been going on for a while. There was a study done back in 2013 by a conservation group called Oceana, and they took 82 samples of salmon that they bought, they sent them to the lab. They found that 43% of them were mislabeled.
43%, almost half.
Almost half. And of the mislabeled salmon, 69% of it was mislabeled wild salmon that was actually farmed. So you're paying more.
So what you see in the store is this.
Yes.
You're not seeing this sign, which is a big problem for me. So you may be paying a little extra for stuff that you shouldn't be paying extra for, and you've got to push hard. In fact, earlier this year, we reached out to the National Fisheries Institute for a statement, and they agreed fish fraud is illegal and ought to be stopped. They encourage customers to ask restaurants and retailers if they source their food from members of the Better Seafood Board. Guys, the answer ought to be yes. If something's out there trying to save you money, take advantage of it. We also reached out to the FDA for a statement. They did not get back to us in time for taping, so we'll post their statement on DrOz.com if one is provided. So Julie's got a couple of ways consumers can be smarter about buying wild salmon. First, don't judge the fish by its pinkness.
Yes.
This looks different color than this.
It does, doesn't it? Now, generally, farmed salmon is a paler color than wild, but that's not always the case. So wild salmon gets its coloring by eating crustaceans and shrimp, and that's how that coloring gets into the flesh. Now, farmed salmon's eating fish food, and so in the fish food, you have to add coloring to get it to turn pink, right? So you can do it naturally with an algae or crushed up crustaceans, or it can come from the lab. This is a carotenoid called astaxanthin, and it is added to the food so that the salmon turns pink. And if you didn't add this coloring to the salmon would be gray, and it wouldn't sell.
It would be appealing. Now, we don't know if this is a problem. I don't think it is.
No, the FDA wants to let you know it is safe to consume.
But I do want you to know the color is not a natural color. Just be aware of that. I like to buy wild salmon, but it certainly don't pay wild salmon prices to buy farm-raised salmon just because of the color. What about the fattiness of the fish?
Yeah, well, this is what's interesting. Remember, we talked about these fish in the farm. They're hanging out in these pens. They're just getting fed. They're not asked to do a lot of exercise. They're the couch potato, right? Of the salmon varieties, right? Where these guys, they're swimming long distances. They're hunting. And so it comes down to fattiness. And that fattiness can be a lot more in farmed. Up to 4 times fattier for farm fish than wild fish, which is substantially different. That not only has a flavor impact, but it has a cooking impact too. So at America's Test Kitchen, we tell you to cook wild salmon just a few degrees less, or else so that it doesn't taste too dry.
Yeah, I think most people like the taste of farm raised because you like the fattiness, but appreciate the differences and get what you pay for. Up next, what about king salmon? Is that good for you? Should you pay extra for it? What kind of salmon is used in the canned versions? Big questions on that as well. Our supermarket salmon investigation, it continues.
An aspiring actress goes to Hollywood only to disappear.
Start to really piece together an exact series of steps until she goes off the grid.
Police come up short on answers.
The tipster's tip was also wrong.
It was wrong too?
Witness the case unravel in real time.
They had 2 guns, a rope, and a tape recorder.
Plus, a new approach to stop stress that won't stress you out. Next Oz.
That's coming up tomorrow. We're back to the ultimate Oz guide to supermarket salmon. Now, we just talked about farm versus wild, but what about king and coho and even canned salmon? What should you be buying? Julia Collin Davison is back with supermarket salmon for every price point. So there's actually 8 species of salmon.
Yeah.
I've gone hunting for them with my son. I say hunting because they're sort of big.
Yeah, right.
And we got a variety of them here. Now, besides the farm-raised and the wild salmon, the actual varieties are out there include king, which is that's a big splurge for a lot of folks.
It is the king of all the salmon varieties, and you pay for that. It's a good $15 to $20 more per pound than a farm-raised Atlantic salmon. Yeah, so it's expensive. This is your special occasion, white tablecloth, candlelight, maybe a little romance kind of meal.
Yes, if you're going to spend the money, get something back for it. And it's expensive just because of its taste?
Well, yeah, its flavor is very strong. It's the strongest flavor of all the salmon varieties, and that is prized by consumers and chefs alike. But also, as you pointed out, they're hard to catch.
Yeah.
It's expensive to catch them, and they have a relatively short fishing season. So, demand is high, supply is low, high price tag.
All right, what about coho salmon? This is, again, $15 cheaper, right, per pound?
Yeah, it's a great second. Now, this is also known as silver salmon. It has a milder flavor, which some people like, and it's a great second, easy to find at the supermarket, also available frozen, so it's a good idea.
And frozen fish, don't scoff at. We'll come back to that in a second. I like that idea a lot. And what should we know about buying coho to make sure we get our money's worth?
Yeah, so it also has a season. It's available from July to September. And so if you're buying it outside of that season, buy it frozen because it's going to be frozen anyway. And also the season for king salmon is from May to September. So if you're buying king salmon, buy it within the season if it's fresh. If you're buying it outside that season, you're buying it frozen anyway. So buy it frozen.
All right.
Save yourself the money.
Canned. People, they wrinkle their noses at this. There's a hidden gem here, though, canned salmon.
Yes.
And this is what it looks like in the can, but I want you to do someone who agrees with me. A big fan of canned salmon. Melissa's joining us. How are you?
How are you?
Hello.
Now, it is cheaper. It's easier than other salmon. Describe the taste for everybody so they can join us in loving this.
It tastes like chicken. No,
Tastes
kidding.
like chicken, please. Supposed to be an advocate, a cheerleader.
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, it has a very neutral taste. Even coming from a can, it doesn't taste metallic. Unlike tuna, that's very fishy. Salmon out of a can is not fishy whatsoever.
Educate us a bit about it. Actually, you stock up on it, right? You like it so much.
I do, yeah. I create a lot of recipes with it. For instance,
Oh, look at those. They're beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I love, one of my favorite go-tos is either doing a salmon fried rice or making some baked salmon meatballs, salmon burgers, or even just making a salmon salad with a 3-ingredient dill Dijon sauce. It's amazing.
They look great. And it doesn't cost much. Tell us about the actual salmon that goes into making canned salmon.
Yeah, so canned salmon, you can find it for less than $1.50 a can. So it is a steal, right? And also, if you look at the ingredients, there's only 3 ingredients in there. You have water, salmon, and salt. So no hidden lurking issues or chemicals. And also, it has clear labeling. It'll clearly tell you if it's farmed or wild, and I appreciate that.
All right, so give us a quick summary here. When you're buying salmon, no matter what kind you're getting, what should you be looking for before you put it in your cart?
Well, you have to trust where you're shopping because at the end of the day, you're taking the word of the person behind the counter. So shop where you can trust the people selling you the food. Now, if you look at salmon, you want it to be fresh. So you want it to be glossy. It needs to be moist. If you smell it, and don't hesitate to stick your nose over there and ask the person to smell the food, smell the fish. Stick your nose in. It shouldn't smell like anything. It should smell like the sea. If it smells fishy, that's old. Also, old fish can be browned and dried out around the edges. And don't discount frozen. As we talked about, frozen fish oftentimes can be fresher than what's behind the counter. Because if it's flash frozen, that's a word to look for, and vacuum sealed, it was packaged right after harvesting. And so if you thought yourself, it'll be fresher than some of the older things that have been hanging around at the counter.
That's usually what we eat in our household, actually.
Oh, frozen.
Yes, because I don't want to waste money on fish that's been shipped across the country. I don't have to have it 2 days after it was caught. I want it to taste like it was just caught.
Right.
And frozen gets you there.
And it's convenient. You can put it in your freezer and use it when you're ready.
Batch buy.
Yeah.
Julia, as always, Melissa, I'm glad you're a fan as well.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Try the canned salmon as well. By the way, you can check out a copy of American Test Kitchen's book. It's called Spice. Very spicy. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Up next, she helped pave the way for the most popular talk show of all time and the show that got me my start, The Oprah Winfrey Show. Oprah's executive producer, Sheri Salata, is here with a plan that everyone can use to achieve your dreams. So stay with us. She helped pave the road for one of the most legendary talk shows of our time. Sheri Salata was the executive producer of The Oprah Winfrey Show. the show that got me my start. Today, she's opening up about the secrets that led to her success and how everyone sitting at home right now can harness the ability to achieve their dream career, their dream life, all by learning the hidden power of the word no. Please welcome my very good friend, Sheri Salata. Oh my goodness.
My friend.
Now one second, don't move.
I know, I can hug you now. Oh, I can
No cigarettes.
No. Oh, no. No. Hi, everyone.
Well, explain why I did that in a second. It'll come up.
Yes.
Well, first of all, do you like being back in a talk show set?
My heart is pounding, and I feel like I need to go put on some headphones and, give some orders.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was in your blood. You're
It's
so good at it. What was the best part about running the Oprah show?
Oh, well, for me, it was, first of all, the team that we created, and then knowing that we were connecting with millions of people around the world. That felt every day like life to me. Yeah. Like I had a job with meaning.
I would walk home after the shows, and people would start slowly talking about the things we had talked about.
Yeah.
And one day Oprah, before the show, said, has it started to happen yet? And I said, what's that? She said, have people begun to understand what you're trying to talk about? That was the power of the show, because we were all listening to and watching the same darn show every day, the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it began to influence people in profoundly powerful ways. Of all the shows you did that had that impact, I only did health. You got to do everything.
Oh, I watched you rise. I watched people connect to you. That was something to see.
Well, it's really because of you and your team.
It was something to see.
Of all the shows you did, which was the ones that touched you the most?
Well, every day was like a cornucopia of blessings and wonder and fun. But for me, probably the last 3 shows, and I remember many times during that weekend thinking, I am a singular witness at the farewell of one of the greatest television shows in history.
Yeah.
That's pretty memorable.
And delivered on all regards.
Yeah.
So, there are lots of misconceptions that I'd like you to clarify for me, because there's so much that happened that was not so obvious from the outside.
Yeah.
Let's start with you. I mean, how you even ended up there. I didn't realize, for example, that when you first applied to come to the Oprah Winfrey Show, the woman who ultimately would run the whole enterprise was told, no, you can't come here.
It was a big dream. I was an advertising agency producer, and it was a little lackluster. I was missing that meaning piece. But across the river in Chicago, there was this talk show that was lighting up the world. And I thought, well, maybe that's where I belong. So I got my hopes up. I sent in my reel and my resume, and I got the message. It was back in the day when we had tape on an answering machine. I got the message that, I'm sorry, you're not what we're looking for. So I thought that was over. And a few years later, I had a big interview at a big advertising agency for a big job. And I was broke. I had no money. And I needed this job. I really needed this big position. And I went in for the interview, and they're like, yes, you're perfect for, we can't wait. It's going to be so much money, and it's so fantastic. And I literally was celebrating with my crew that Friday night. And 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail saying, we're not hiring right now.
Oh, no.
So I was devastated. I remember laying on the couch watching soap operas and thinking, am I ever going to make my dreams come true? Is it ever going to click for me? And by this time, I'm 35. I'm not like a kid out of college, and so I'm like running out of hope. And in the next couple days, there's another message on my answering machine. We were cleaning out an old closet and found your VHS tape and your resume. Will you come in and freelance?
You're kidding me.
No. And I was like, oh my God. But it was years later when I realized, Dr. Oz, that without that beautiful no from that big advertising agency, I never would have taken a chance and quit that job and gone to freelance. So I realized that no was one of the most beautiful no's of my life.
I'm going to come back to no, because that's a big part of this wonderful new book that Sheri's written that we're going to speak about. But just to clean up one other issue. And we have a little bit of a personal relationship.
We do.
Back. And this was, when you were asked about it, I hear, you said it was complicated.
Yes, my relationship with you. Well, it's a big confession, and it's the first time you and I are ever speaking about it. But when you would come to Harpo Studios, I would run into another corner and say, okay, I'll wave to you from here. Don't come any closer. Because executive producer, bad habits, I was smoking. I was drinking gigantic sodas. I was latteing all day long. And I had so much shame around all my terrible ways of trying to cope with the stress of that job that I had to worship you from afar.
It's funny you say that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I must say, these are the insecurities you walk around with in life.
Yeah.
I always thought you didn't like me.
Oh my God.
I swear. Because all the other producers are so ebullient. They come over, they hang with you, they talk, they give me advice. They tell me things I did wrong, which what your friends do. And I always see you and you always be leaving and running. And I said, where's she going? I mean, doesn't she have any time?
Oh my God, I adored you. I adored you and I respected you so much that it really brought up shame for me because you were really serious and I wasn't ready to be serious.
Yeah. That comes up a lot in your book. You talk about the fact that the biggest fear, actually, in many ways, is tell me about what is it about your health?
Well, I mean, and it was, first of all, the biggest overarching thing was I had manifested a dream come true career, but not a dream come true life.
Oh, that's pretty.
And there I was in my middle 50s going, if not now, when? And if not now, maybe never. And that was a big reckoning I had to do. And one of the first things was health and wellness in that whole area of, I don't want to die not having begun the practices that I have been taught and trained and know, can make life better.
You stop before you ever get started. I think that happens to so many folks watching right now.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it feels like because you haven't got there yet because you're latteing your soda pops and the cigarettes.
Someday I'll do this. Someday I'll get this. Someday I'll learn how to meditate. Someday I'll actually sit and meditate. Someday I'll go to a yoga class. Lots and lots and lots of somedays. And pretty soon you're like, how many more somedays do I get?
And in particular, when you're the leader of a big troop of very, very smart people, and you've got to seem anyway like you don't have any weaknesses or any chinks in your armor, and throughout the middle of that, you start having to deal with other family issues. I remember when your brother passed away, and you had to actually. It'd be nice if you share that with everybody because it wasn't the loss of your brother that was in many ways the most painful experience for you. It was having to share that and then not being able to grieve.
Right. So it was very, very easy to say, I'm not going to deal with the fact that my 42-year-old brother didn't wake up one morning. He has 4 children. My parents, I have to tell them that, and all of that devastation and it was cataclysmic in our family. And I was like, get through it, got to get back to work, back to work. Yeah, and it was years, several years, maybe 7 or 8, where I had to contend with, what is this? I'm carrying a lot of baggage around. What is it? And a big piece of it for me was unfelt grief. I hadn't had my grief moment. I hadn't had those feelings. So you end up with a part of you that's frozen. You're kind of frozen, protect, don't feel, don't hurt.
In the middle of all that, you're teaching people profoundly important lessons that are changing their lives, which is a paradox of this. And I see it a lot. And it's true in medicine, right? The doctors don't often do what they recommend to their patients. And you're giving incredibly important advice. What were the elements of that advice that finally began to sink through to you, so that you changed yourself? You basically watched the show that you were making finally.
Right. Well, it was first of all, the motivation was fear. And then there was a very, very, very deep reckoning that I had to go through in all the areas of my life. And for the first time, I was able to do it with tenderness. Instead of that horrible voice that, you're not doing this enough and you're not enough that and you haven't done this yet and, what's wrong with you and why can't you do this? That very mean voice that can live in our heads and literally kill our dreams, kill our passion, kill our confidence. And finally, I was able to excavate a tender voice. The voice I use with my English bulldogs, Bella and Kissy. The voice I use with strangers' babies in a grocery store. I used that voice, and that voice literally began to coax me back to believing that it was possible.
Will you share with us how you do that?
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, Sheri's going to reveal her simple steps for achieving your dreams, because she's not alone with that harsh voice, and how all of you can learn to embrace the word no. You won't want to miss it.
Oh my God, I was telling you that you thought I didn't like it.
The normal signs of pregnancy, not there.
I didn't gain any weight.
A birth plan, no time for one.
I thought maybe I had food poisoning.
True stories of women who did not know they were pregnant.
That's coming up on Wednesday. We're back with my friend Sheri Salata, the former executive producer of the Oprah Winfrey Show. Now she's talking about achieving her dream life in her brand new book, and she's back to reveal how you can live your most beautiful life at any age. And first off, she has a mantra that she learned as part of what she calls her reckoning. Reckoning is an interesting word.
It is a word. Well, it has the drama that it required, which is, are you ever going to live the life of your dreams? You've had the job of your dreams. Are you going to put that knowledge to use or not? So yeah. So I had to really dig deep and figure out what is the belief system that I need to employ to make that happen. And you know, one of the great benefits at the Oprah Winfrey Show, company benefits, was I was paid to build a spiritual life. That's how I felt. I was paid to build a spiritual life. So one of my great spiritual teachers, Abraham Hicks, talks about you create your own reality. You're responsible for it all. And if, ask and it is given. And, taking that kind of responsibility for your life really is the beginning. And I'm not an expert. I'm still just walking through it. And every day remembering, what do you want? Why do you want it? How do you get there?
And being tender. So this is your mantra. If you can, if you just read it to us.
Yes. So,
by the way, you're all going to have to make your own mantra.
That's right.
But Sheri will teach you that in a second. But what is it? Read it, and what does it mean?
We co-create our reality with the universe. We are responsible for it all. Ask, it is given, allow it. These are the tenets of Abraham Hicks, which you can find online. But I think for all of us, we have to find our language. What is the language that speaks to you? What's the language that inspires you and lights you up? That's why there's so many paths to enlightenment, because we all are going to get there at our own time in our own way. But it starts by saying, I want to find my language. And this is mine. That really taking that personal responsibility. So if I say I'm going to meditate and all I do is talk about it, and I love to talk about meditation, but I never sit down, then that's part of the responsibility of how I've taken care of my life. So
what's the first step that someone at home right now should take to make their own mantra?
Well, I think it's like, what are the words that inspire magic in you? Is it passion? Is it upliftment? Is it inspiration? And then start to think about what are the areas of your life, and this is what I did, that you have a bigger dream for it. You have a bigger dream. You could be living in a more elevated way. You know it. And then taking your tender voice and saying, all right, what are some of those little practices that I've learned from Dr. Oz that I can begin to do every day just to take a little step toward that more elevated life? And then it's almost like once you do it, once you take that step, then the universe rises up to meet you, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And along the way, you're going to run some failure.
Yeah.
You speak about, in order to have the dream life, you've got to embrace the beautiful no.
That's right.
Now, I wanted to put you in a place where you have to say no a lot. You can reconstruct the Oprah studio. This is what the control room looked like, exactly.
Yes.
So what does it feel like to be in that room?
Oh my God.
Where you have to say no, 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 and hear no sometimes?
My heart's pounding. My heart's pounding. Well, listen, I had some of my greatest, most memorable moments in this room. But as I was saying to you, that I only got there because I got a big, fat, beautiful no. And what I began to ask myself, Dr. Oz, is maybe all those no's in my life were beautiful no's. Like the guy that didn't love me back. Maybe I would be off in a small town somewhere, managing the hardware store with him. All those no's. If you could know in the moment that no was beautiful, and just be excited and surprised to see what the universe has in store with you, how your dreams are going to be manifested. I'm feeling like that kind of is a big part of the key of happiness.
And that also allows you to stop fearing no.
Right.
And as you do it, as you more point out, you embrace it, you just leapfrog from it forward.
Exactly. So you're like, great, I've gotten a big no. I wonder what the yes is going to be. Kind of more excited instead of like laying on the couch and watching soap operas for 6 months.
All right, so the next time someone gets a no, instead of lying on the couch and watching whatever they're going to watch, what should they do?
Well, first of all, right before that, though, go back in your life and see your nose. Find the beauty in your nose, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. That there's like this matrix, there's this divine map of your life, and you're going to see that you couldn't have gotten to this good thing without a few of those beautiful no's. So you kind of prepare yourself for it, and then basically wait for the next one. Wait for the next one, and greet it with a big smile on your face.
You know what I always love? I ask people, when we're at parties, what would you change in your life?
Yeah.
You all should do the same exercise, and everyone says nothing.
Yeah.
Even if things didn't work, even if they wish they could have changed things, they don't want to change it because they don't want to change where they are now.
Yeah.
So it ends up being part of our lives.
That's right. It's part of the pattern, part of the plan.
I'm so happy.
I love you.
I'm so happy you actually like me.
I love you.
You can hear more in her wonderful new book, The Beautiful No, and other tales of trial, transcendence, and transformation. It's wonderful. We'll be right back. Do you think you have what it takes to become the next big food entrepreneur? Well, stick around because Lori Grenier is judging the first ever Shark Tank Bites competition right here on the show.
I'll let the contestants know if their recipes are heroes or zeros. Stay tuned.
Have you ever been told that your cookie recipe is so good it ought to be sold in stores? Do you win the coleslaw contest every year at the fair and think to yourself, could this be a business? Well, don't ignore that little voice because it could lead to a big payout, and no one knows that better than Shark Tank's Lori Grenier. Now, she's here today in our little version of the Shark Den to hear two pitches from home chefs who want to be foodpreneurs. Now, they say their food products are so good, they could be the next big thing on your grocery store shelves, and we are calling it Shark Tank Bites. Oh, it's coming at you. Do you like that little logo?
I do. I love it.
You like food?
I like food. And who doesn't like a sprinkled donut? Come on.
All right, so Lori invested in Benton Bagels when they were just a small, itty-bitty New York-based bakery. They're everywhere. They're in Starbucks right now. How did you know their product had what it took to succeed?
Well, what I loved, first of all, I was love at first bite, right? But
please.
But next, it was unique. It was different. You know, it was something. It's always best to come up with something that's a little revolutionary, and then flavor profile. You know, if it tastes delicious, it's going to win, right?
Well, you picked it right, and we can all do it. All right, let's meet our first wannabe foodpreneur. Wendy is here to present her creation. Come on out, Wendy. She's making her way to her product. Well, we're going to taste, Wendy. Please take it away.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Wendy. I'm from Long Island, New York, and this is my Fakin' Bacon Jam.
Fakin' bacon?
Bacon.
Bacon.
So it's vegan. It has fake bacon. I was making regular bacon jam and giving it away on my food truck that I own, and then somebody was like, do you do vegan? Do you have a vegan thing that's similar? And I said, there's a challenge. Let's see if I can do it. And they love it. And then they would just get the vegan version and not the regular one. So I said, all right, let's just do the vegan version then.
What do you think about this taste?
Well, first off, I think it's delicious.
Thank you.
And I am shocked it's not real bacon. Like, I just wanted to go pick up that jar and say, what is in this?
Yeah.
So don't you think it's really interesting?
Well, are we allowed to know how you pulled this off? I mean, it does taste just like bacon.
Secret?
Well, there's a secret in there, but the main ingredient is smoked tempeh.
Tempeh?
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. We're voting with our palates, but we got another foodpreneur. Let's invite out. This is Ariel from Hot Box Food Trucks in Long Island. Come on out. From the food truck, he walks away. The Hot Box. You know which one it is now. So we're also going to enjoy tasting your dish. If you don't mind sharing with us what your idea is.
Hi, Lori. Hi, Dr. Oz. My name is Ariel Gardner, chef and part owner of the Hot Box LI. On Long Island, we feature fried wings, shrimp, chicken tenders in various sauces. The sauce that you have in front of you is one of our high hitters. It's a sweet Thai chili sauce. It's made with a little garlic, sugar, vinegar, and chilies. And the number one ingredient in this sauce is love. The Hot Box started in my very own backyard. With me and my partner, we sold 1,000 wings in 6 hours.
1,000 wings?
In 6 hours out of my backyard. Eesh. And we said, we have too much traffic coming to my house. Simple. I need to find a spot. That was in August. When we first started, we had 50 followers, just friends and family. We're up to 6,500 followers. We only open on Instagram, nothing else, and people do not come to our place. It's a pop-up restaurant unless we post.
We should do a pop-up backstage. We can
right.
pull it off. So what do you think about, let's talk about the taste first.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you something that this is shocking. I mean, such a weird coincidence. First of all, it's fabulous.
Thank you.
Secondly, in my magazine, I have, and these are all my own recipes, a salmon Thai chili glaze recipe.
Yes.
I think this is phenomenal, really delicious. You can put this on salmon, you can put it on
vegetables.
chicken, you can put it on anything.
It is also vegan. You can mix it with anything, any type of combination, Asian flavors, it does not matter.
See, I know this sauce. That's crazy. I mean, your sauce is fantastic.
Thank you.
But I know Thai chili glaze.
What's the first step for budding on foodpreneurs like our guests today who want to get their products out to retailers? They both made products that I can see being successful, and they're in, a jar and a cup. So you got to get it into a store.
Well, what's really interesting is I think you both have something that's a number one hero important thing, which is uniqueness. For you, in the vegan space, there is just tons of demand for products that are vegan, but delicious and like non-vegan. So to have a bacon jam, I think would do really well. I haven't seen anything else out there like it, and it's delicious. So I think, targeting like Whole Foods, and that would be your way to go, even Trader Joe's. And then for you, sounds like you're doing it right, because you are creating these pop-ups or having a food truck, but not always being there is creating this like viral demand where you're going to get hundreds of people lining up
we usually sell
because
out
you're only there Tuesday or you're only there, and that really spreads it. So I think what you're doing is exactly right.
All right, so listen, you got the vegan bacon jam, you got the Asian chili sauce, both delicious, tough decision, but that's what you get paid for, making the tough decisions. Stay tuned, because Lori's going to announce the winner of the Shark Tank Bites when we come back, plus tips for you on how you know if your business idea is a hero, because many of them are, or is it a zero? Stay with us.
The unbelievable true story of women who did not know they were pregnant.
I thought maybe I had food poisoning.
Next, Oz.
That's coming up on Wednesday. We're about to reveal the winner of our first home-cooked foodpreneur competition with Shark Lori Guinier. Will the shark bite? That's the question. But first, Lori has some advice for all of you at home to tell if your own idea can be a hero or if it's a zero, so you shouldn't waste time on it. So, run down a list that applies to everybody.
Okay, first off, does it serve a function? Super important. Is it unique? The more unique, the better. Do people want it or need it? Does it solve a problem? Does it appeal to a mass market? That means the more people it appeals to, the better and likely it is to succeed.
So if you're not sure about these ideas, check the boxes, it makes sense, go on with it.
Right.
These are important things when you start any kind of a business, but especially when it talks about food, right? Something that competitors are going to care a lot about, you have to focus. Okay, let's check back with our foodpreneurs. Wendy and Ariel just went head to head in pitching their delicious products. Wendy says her vegan bacon, her fakin' bacon, will bring home the bacon, and Ariel's wing sauce recipes, well, it's hot stuff. You guys comfortable with how you did?
Yes, I am.
Any final words?
Follow Hotbox LI.
I like it. All right, now it's time to announce the winner of the coveted Shark Tank Bites trophy. I call your attention to the Shark Tank with the little bites in front of the shark. It took years of hard work to earn this. You'll notice I'll turn it around for you. This could be yours if you're a Shark Tank Bite competitor. All right, Lori, who should win the Shark Tank Bites contest? I know this is hard. We've got Wendy's Fakin' Bacon Bites, and we've got Ariel's the Asian chili. So good, you loved it too.
Oh, honestly, when talking to you about it, this was probably one of the hardest competitions I have ever had to pick with Dr. Oz, because the Thai chili glaze is fantastic. It's right up my alley. I absolutely adore it, and it's delicious. Same thing with the bacon vegan jam. The winner.
Told you.
Gotta say the bacon vegan jam.
Oh.
Now, I gotta tell why.
Come up.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Ariel, you're runner-up, which is a darn good place to be.
You're welcome.
So, But explain why this coveted Shark Tank Bites trophy.
I'm going to explain why, because if I had had 2 trophies, it would have gone. Because of the uniqueness here. Because I've really seen nothing else out there like it. And I think that there's a big demand for something in the vegan space like this. So I think it'll go far. But I also have to say, keep doing what you're doing, because I will be a consumer of that, and I will probably want you to send me sauce.
Ariel, congratulations. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep your vision. Listen, you all could be like this. Follow your dreams. Lori, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
All the great work you guys do. Be sure to check out Lori's wonderful new magazine, Living Inspired. It's on newsstands now. Be right back. There she is.
An aspiring actress goes to Hollywood only to disappear. Witness the case unravel in real time.
That's coming up tomorrow. Question for you. What is your food texture type? The research says you could be either a chewer, right? What do chewers do? You're drawn to foods that give you a jaw workout, like anything gummy, right? Then there are the crunchers. Crunchers are people who love to hear and feel that crunch when you bite into things. You all know who you are, right? Crunchers. Some of you are suckers, right? Suckers in a good way, right? You're always getting hard candies in your purse. You can pop them in your mouth. You like to savor the flavor as long as you can. And then there's this group I'd never heard of before called smooshers. You're the folks that your go-to is puddings and soft serve ice cream. You prefer soft foods where you don't have to do anything other than swallow it down. So which one are you? Personally, I'm a cruncher, no question about it. I love crunching into apples and hazelnuts. And Karen, from our audience, is a cruncher just like me. How are you?
That's right, just like you.
What do you like to crunch on?
On chips and pretzels.
Chips and pretzels?
Yes, and Cracker Jacks.
Well, thanks for being honest. Let me ask you, this happens to me, maybe it happens to you. Does it ever annoy the people around you when they hear the crunching?
No, it's all about the crunch.
My family, they think I crunch too much.
Oh, nobody's complained to me yet.
Well, they're just not telling you. They will.
Oh, okay.
So there are people out there who are very sensitive to the sound of crunching. Crazy as it sounds, I learned this, their heart rates go up. It affects them in ways they can't even control. So now I finally empathize with my friends and family. Here's a little healthy crunch food that's a little quieter. Okay. Dill pickles, give it a shot. Now, nice thing about dill pickles.
Would you like one?
Well, thank you very much. I'll have one too. Okay. Because of what's in the dill pickle, it can actually reduce your blood sugar, which is the opposite of what chips do. The crunch into it.
Okay. Pretty good.
They're the best. All right, now, Ann, you're a smoosher.
That's right.
Does our crunching bother you?
Yes, sometimes. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yes.
See, I told you. Why do you gravitate towards to smooth foods that smoosh in your mouth?
Well, it's comforting. It's easy to get down. It glides and silky and relaxing.
But your teeth work, right? You could chew if you wanted to.
That's right.
Yeah. So a little hack for you. I know sometimes things we smooch aren't so good for us. This is Greek yogurt, put a little cocoa on top of it. Mm-hmm. Now you can smooch all you want. It's actually good for you. Mm-hmm. So it's a compromise solution.
Okay.
With pickles in there, it would be even better, by the way. Right. Fine, there's 2 other times I talked about, and give you some healthy recommendations for these guys. The suckers who are out. Who are the suckers out there? Suckers in a good way. Not many people will admit that they're suckers, right? So frozen grapes actually work. They have less sugar than those hard candies you guys suck on all the time. And the highly concentrated antioxidants in the skin actually make it good for you. And for the chewers out there, one of my favorite foods, mulberries. Try some dried mulberries. They contain compounds that may help reduce the bad cholesterol. What do you think about these ideas?
Great ideas.
Right, you know what? You give this to a sucker in your life.
Thank you.
You give this to a chewer in your life. I'm going to take your smooshing food. Thank you for being here, guys. Don't forget, together, change is just beginning. Journey's just beginning.